All right. Actions have consequences. There's been a very well-known leaker for a very long time, many years, called Fate Unknown. No, it is not me, right? My first assumption is that this person is somebody inside NetherRealm, or very close to someone at NetherRealm, because they have been pretty much bang on accurate with everything that's come out, right? This is posted by the Thinny, MK1 leak tweet. According to Fate Unknown, Kombat Pack 3 and Story DLC 2 are cancelled. Seems like Year 3 is no longer happening the way it was meant to happen. Fate Unknown says, Kombat Pack 3 and a second story expansion were planned. All cancelled recently, no more characters after Kombat Pack 2. A cameo or two might make it since there's been work done on them, but I don't know yet. Now, this is just obviously a leaked rumor. Again, Fate Unknown's been accurate with this sort of stuff before, but we're going to base this on the premise that this is indeed true. And you should have listened to Daddy Fate. Right? The Thinny follows up, he goes, they spent an entire year honing the game, fixing its bugs, balancing the characters, XX Sub-Zero, giving us massive quality of life updates, and then they ditch it? I really hope it's not, because the measurement of DLC as success by the DLC's content and not the previous DLC sales. Now, this sort of thing will force Warner Brothers or Ed Boon or somebody there probably to come out, because everyone seems to be covering it, right? We see a lot of cope, a lot of hopium, you know, but the reality is, though, is that this is what happens when you make a game for people that either don't buy the game, or for a tiny percentile of people like Only Pros, who are less than 0% of the population when it comes to MK competitive players, right? When your lead quality assurance or whatever the hell Stephen Brownback is, right? He is the guy in charge of doing this sort of combat, or at least putting it out there and covering it and making sure it's the way it is. You guys just don't get it, do you? What exactly has changed dramatically to make this game better since its launch? Oh, they changed the menu. The stages have always been solid. Some of the character designs are pretty good. But there's no heart in Mortal Kombat anymore. It has been that way under NRS's banner. And you might go, well, Fate, Mortal Kombat 9. But Mortal Kombat 9 was being developed under Midway, right? Before the acquisition with Warner Brothers. That's why Mortal Kombat 9 feels so amazing. Because it was a completely different game, right? It was a Mortal Kombat game. They scaled things back to what made Mortal Kombat great. There's a couple of things I wasn't a big fan of, but ultimately, it gave everyone that is a fan of Mortal Kombat in some capacity exactly what they wanted, right? It respected the original story timeline without altering it, so we still could have the original timeline, but it was like a sidestep like they did with the Star Trek series that they brought out in the last decade or so. And then they just shit-canned it all. And as we have seen, the writers from the story alone has been reduced down from, what, 5 to one singular person. A radical lefty lunatic writing the story, basically copying Marvel Phase 4, and look how it turned out. These people probably thought that the DLC was going to be a slam dunk, right? I told you, idiots. Anyone that defends this stuff, and anyone at NRS and Warner Brothers, stop with the DLC guest characters. No other fighting game out there does it to this capacity, if ever. Stop it. They do not sell the game. Your wish and your dying, you know, sort of like allegiance to this, we must get the normies, we've got to get the normies. How do you think Mortal Kombat became popular in the first place, you clowns? It didn't accommodate to the normies. It did something radically different compared to every other 2D fighting game of its time. And that attracted people to it. Mortal Kombat the 3D era did not tank Midway and by the way, right? It was all their other investments and properties that they were working on. Mortal Kombat was still profitable, okay? But obviously Midway tanked. But Mortal Kombat, despite its 3D combat, was still good. Still a Mortal Kombat game, felt like a Mortal Kombat game. They just expanded upon it more. There are some massive key issues outside of obviously just front-loading this crap with fucking guest characters that nobody asked for, except for 5 people on Twitter. That their entire existence, in fact their entire page on Twitter, is about these characters. Nobody asked for this stupid shipping or pushing in DEI or Sweet Baby Inc. type influence. All of this stuff has destroyed the game. Not to mention the fact that it is dated compared to how other fighting games look. It'll be really interesting to actually compare it to Virtua Fighter 5 Revo when it comes out to see how that actually stacks up. What do you think was going to happen? When you curate your game to be competitive, it will always fail. Gaming is supposed to be fun. It is supposed to be something that you throw on and have a good old time. Not sitting there as a training tool to maybe one day get you into a tournament like some fucking loser. No offense. You know what? You can take all the offense you like. I don't give a fuck. If this is true, this is absolutely deserved. And Mortal Kombat 100,000% needs to die. It needs to die. It needs to be fucking buried. Never excavated until some team comes along and understands what Mortal Kombat. I'll tell you what, I'll buy it off Warner Brothers. I'll buy it off Warner Brothers, right? For $10. The IP. Because that's as much as it's worth right now. Okay? I'll buy it. I know everyone to hire to fix this shit. In fact, Total MK would know even more people to hire to fix this shit. And you know how you fix it? You fix it from the top. You put John Tobias in charge of the story. You relegate Ed Boon to doing what he was always done best, and that is programming, along with his brother Mike Boon, right? You do everything you can to get back anyone that even loved Mortal Kombat from the original Midway team. And you start from there. Because the greatest strength that I always thought that Mortal Kombat had was its story. It separated itself from every other fighter of its time. It really created this wonderful universe that you wanted to know more about. It was one of the few fighting games from its time that actually had things like character biographies show up, where you could actually see, oh, this is Kano's motivations, this is Scorpion's motivations, and then it encourages you to go, oh, I want to see how it ends. You waste all this money on fucking buying voiceovers in the shop. You waste all of this money on a shit mode called Invasions, when you've got literal fantastic godlike templates with Conquest from Deception. You could have easily made this a slam dunk game by creating an Armageddon 2.0 so that every MK fan gets their favorite character in there in some capacity. Every stage comes back, just like how we've seen it with Trilogy, Armageddon, and then of course, I will always state that MK9 was kind of like a Trilogy 2.0 as well. And you do away with this ridiculous esports focused bullshit garbage combo system. Scale it all the way back to the 2D era, right? 2D era with a run button, okay? Just have that. And for fuck's sake, do something with that stupid stance swap button. Nobody cares about your stance swapping, you idiots. In MK10, I believe, or MK9, you can simply double tap. I'm pretty sure it was just MK9 actually. You could double tap back or double tap forward and they'll swap. You don't even need to do that. You don't need to do that. Just make them always facing front. It's these tiny little things that over time, it's like tiny grains of sand eventually make a heap. And now we are at the catastrophic point where they're probably all sitting around going, oh shit, I don't know what happened. What happened? And then you got all the shills, all the fucking only pros sitting out there sucking the Warner Brother dick because they think that by shitting on other people like me and Total MK and everyone else that are actually passionate Mortal Kombat fans, that want this series to maintain its integrity and its strength that it used to have, they forgo all of that. Why? So they can get their foot in the door. So they can get their little perks and their little pat on the back and their little early access, like Super got with Ghostface. What do you think was going to happen when you don't listen to proper Mortal Kombat fans? And you listen to idiots that sit there and go, yeah, it's acceptable to have half your health bar vanish if you miss on one punch. And these fucking idiots have come out and said, oh yeah, I want to take more. Because they don't care about Mortal Kombat. They care about taking a franchise and making money out of it, so that way they can just get their medals and dangle them in front of the camera like some fucking loser, and then move on with something else. They don't care about the integrity. You got all these Only Pro guys out there going, oh, yeah, we need to buff this character, that'll save the game. Shut the fuck up, you don't know shit about Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was never about the fucking actual, like, combat itself in that regard. Nobody was sitting there going, gee whiz, you know, I hope the original MK from 90s will end up at EVO. No! Nobody gave a shit about that. People were just fascinated with the fact that it was a violent fighting game, great story, cool-ass characters, and the fact that we actually had a way to finish characters. Now, I'm pretty sure MK1 was the first game to have finishes in it, because I think Samurai Showdown 1 had finishes as well. Right, if you hit with like the full heavy, you could cut him in half, but of course it wasn't gory. You might have a little bit of blood spray, right? Or you might slide in half and that's it. But there are so many issues that I have talked about over the years, and fuckheads on this platform decided to go after me, to make it a point, a personal point, to make it that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm just here for rage bait or clickbait, that clearly I'm just here as some grifter, even though I have a long history, not only on this channel, but in the history of time, standing up for and wanting to make Mortal Kombat great, including, along with Total MK and any other Australian at the time that was doing it, making sure that Mortal Kombat would be unbanned. Mortal Kombat 9 would be unbanned from Australian shores, and it still took 2 years. 2 years. And by that time, we had the Mortal Kombat Complete Edition show up on Australian shelves. And finally, we got our rating system. And to have these fucking pieces of shit come out and say that, oh, I don't love MK. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't know. To the intricate, stupid, fucking moronic level on, oh, you know, this is plus on block, this is minus on that. Shut the fuck up, nerd. Nobody gives a shit about that crap. What are you, fucking stupid? Nobody cares, man. You know why? Because you fucking idiots, along with the shills, and along with NetherRealm, and along with Warner Brothers, you have curated a game to a tiny percentile of people that think the only thing that matters when they get up in the morning is going, gee whiz, I can't wait to sit in the lab for 6 hours a day to see whether or not this punch is minus or plus on block and what I... Like, that's not gameplay. That is not gameplay. That is not fun. And maybe it's fun for you, but you know what also is fun? Having an entire ass fucking Mortal Kombat game around it as well. Awesome characters, kick-ass story. Just all the stuff that made Mortal Kombat MK. I would scale it. I would literally scale this shit. If I was in charge, I would scale this shit all the way back. Right back to the original. And I would look at the 2D era and I would go, what made the 2D era absolutely magical? It's not just, you know, the combat. It's not just the characters or whatever. It's presentation. They have changed Mortal Kombat from being this mystical Asian martial art feeling tournament, you know, where how do people fighting in a tournament, as Raiden said, you know, or sorry, not Raiden, what was it? Liu Kang said, how do people fighting in a simple tournament decide these things, or whatever it was in the original movie? Well, that's what I wanted to know about. I wanted to know what power this was, and I thought MK1 was going to be that. I thought Mortal Kombat 1, the current day, was going to be a prequel to all of that to explain how some of these things came to be. How did the Black Dragon form? Or, you know, how did the Lin Kuei originally form? You know, how did the Great Kung Lao train, become awesome, and then fail at the hands of Goro. All of these things I thought we were going to get, and we never got it. And I, myself, and Total MK, and any other people out there that stood up and said, no, this is not MK, and got harassed, and called racist, and called this, and called that, because these people didn't want to lose their power. That's the only problem here. These people decided to try and either box us in and make out we were this or that. These same people also didn't want to lose the power and control over something that they were only good at. The only thing they're capable of actually doing. Because they actually have an only pro at the head of their combat systems in the fucking company that designs these games specifically and with the listening ear to Sonic Fox. A guy that is not an employee of NetherRealm, who should not be having influence over a game that I paid for. The greatest strength that we all have and we will forever have, no matter what it is the customer is always right. Because if you lose the customer, it's very difficult to get them back. And this is exactly what's happened. Now, Ed Boon has been on record not too long ago saying that there's further support, which means, as I stated in the beginning of this video, that they're going to be probably forced to come out and say, no, we are still committed to this and that. And then I will add a follow-up video. But this video doesn't mean that I'm wrong. I am absolutely 100% right. Because the reason why my channel exists, apart from my love of Mortal Kombat, is because also we have many, many fans of Mortal Kombat out there who are disgusted in the way that NRS has been treating the franchise. Like I said, we used to have this mythical Asian martial art tournament. You know, all steeped in Asian mythology and stuff like that. And it got converted into a horror-themed torture porn type game. It's disgusting. I don't need to see the entrails of somebody. We don't need that, right? We had people at NRS Studios, through the creation of Mortal Kombat 11, you can look this up, get PTSD from researching cadavers and the way that real bodies are actually mutilated and torn apart. What sort of fucking working environment do you have to have where you think that's okay to even allow people to do that? Are you stupid? You don't need to do that. But this is what happens when they try to make their fighting game hyper-realistic looking and hyper-realistic when it comes to their gore and dismemberment. I don't care for it anymore. I don't care. NRS's first true Mortal Kombat game after the merger, Mortal Kombat 10, as I've already covered, is the perfect starting point as to what was the absolute downfall and failure of Mortal Kombat under NRS. And in case you don't realize, NetherRealm is hell. Pretty fitting, don't you think? Look at where they ended up. Full of sin, full of DI, full of thinking that they're so awesome, thinking that, oh, we changed Reiko's forward too, so that means it's amazing now. And not to, I haven't even mentioned the cameos. One of the singular failures for this game. A feature nobody asked for, except for maybe only pros. Perhaps. Because they wanted to be able to extend their combos. I have said this for the longest time, and these fucking idiots will sit there and they will lie to you, saying that it doesn't happen. But cameos are the combo extenders and the combo resetters. Because as I've stated in one of the training tutorials where you do a scorpion combo, and it specifically states, no, you'll hit the max. You can't do any more after this. That's why when the final hit, when you throw the harpoon and you pull forward, the character flattens out to indicate you cannot add to it. Cameos. As long as you throw your cameo in there, it resets the previous combo that you've done, so you can then do a new one. And then if you add in another cameo at some point, then it will reset it again and add on a new one. That's why we get the gigantic combos that we fucking do. Now, I don't have the nuance like an only pro, but I don't give a shit. You fucking idiots sitting there putting out 50, 60, 70% damage combos, that's the only thing you put out there on Twitter or on YouTube, thinking you're somehow some fucking god? You aren't a Mortal Kombat fan, you're a fucking joke. I know Mortal Kombat fans. You're looking at one and I talk to them. This isn't Mortal Kombat, and this right here is no great surprise that it is an absolute toilet. If this is true, by the way, that the reason why the game is in the toilet, why the fuck would they develop any more shit? It's obvious the the Chaos Reigns expansion failed. Everyone could see that, including Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles. Okay, you front load it again with half guest characters. You got Roofermonger, fucking Lamb Chops, who I covered ages ago. So now, well, this is what actually sells more than Mortal Kombat. What a fucking idiot that guy is. Imagine waking up with one brain cell and not realizing that the shit here looks stupid on you. Now, let's be clear here. I don't give a fuck whether or not he's got good technical know-how when it comes to combos and breaking down characters. Fuck that shit, right? Imagine one brain cell and telling people that the only reason why Mortal Kombat sells is when it's not Mortal Kombat. You get what you fucking deserve. All of you people that sat there and defended this game and didn't call out the problems and went after creators because you just decided to make a name for yourselves or try and show out that they don't really know what they're talking about, make up lies and stuff. Or the shills that, you know, that would literally just like, oh, hey, Warner Brothers, but man, I need that paycheck. I need that foot in the door, right? Because then it'll make my channel grow. You all fucking deserve this failure. Me? This is great, right? You want to know why? Because I have an entire library of MK games prior to this dog shit that I can play. That I can still put on the channel and enjoy and showcase to other people that aren't fully aware how amazing Mortal Kombat really is. You got other content creators out there like Daryl Sung, who's a massive creator that only plays classic MK and people love it. And he gets tons and tons of coverage. You want to know why? Because people love classic Mortal Kombat. Because that's where it is, that's where it started. And just like every other fighting game out there that is allowed to keep its legacy and build upon that, Mortal Kombat, under the guidance of Ed Boon, was completely and utterly destroyed for gimmicks and, oh, we need to keep it fresh. Yeah, you need to keep it fresh. You need to keep it fresh so much that the photocopy of the photocopy of the photocopy of the photocopy now, we can't even tell what the original copy was. It is completely almost gone under this guise. You know, under these people. It is disgusting. It's sad. But I know that we still have greatness that we can play. Anyway, catch you next time.